And we're live. Hello, everyone out there. Thank you for joining us today as we talk to Vickie Griffith about taking the leap. How did she do it? When you guys find out what Vickie did, you are not going to want to miss this. So, a while back, Vickie had made the decision that she was ready to lose some weight. And so, this lady right here in front of you is 70 pounds lighter and has kept that off for 20 years. And that's a big question that a lot of women ask. They want to lose 5 pounds or 10 pounds, and they get it off for a little while, but then it comes back on. And what is the secret to that, Vickie? Let's go all the way back 20 years ago and talk about what was it for you on making that decision to change your mind on how you were currently living your life.
Well, I would like to say that there was one light bulb moment, and I think for many of us, that is a lifetime. It's not just so that brings you to that light bulb moment that says, okay, I've got to do something about this. And for me, I was always fat. I literally was a chubby baby, and the chubby, cute baby fat did not go away. So as a kid, I was fat. I was the last one to be picked in any sporting event because I was fat, or any type of childhood thing that was going on. Didn't get invited over to people's homes. If my parents were having an argument, I thought it was because I was fat. So everything in my world was around I'm fat.
Wow.
And it really came to my attention at 10 when my mom took me to the doctor, and the doctor prescribed speed because that was the appetite suppressant at the time. And I can't
At 10
imagine.
years old, that's
I
crazy.
know. And I wasn't on it long. I was always very shy, very reserved child. And I can't imagine what that did to me. So I think my mom took me off of it within a couple of days. But that's when I realized I had a problem, and it was me, is what I felt like.
Yeah.
And all of the shame and all the guilt and all the criticism and all the judgment just added pounds to my body. And yes, like many women you're talking about, I would let go of 5 pounds, lose 5 pounds, 10 pounds, and then 20 would come back. So there was a little bit more every time I lost. And I went on stupid, really, I mean, crazy, stupid diets. Everyone's heard of I think they called it the master cleanse. So lemon, kind of like a lemonade with cayenne pepper, and grapefruit diet, and cottage cheese and ketchup diet.
Oh, that just sounds awful.
No,
Who would want to
it's
put themselves through that or starve themselves for days on end just drinking that cayenne pepper and lemonade? Everyone's like, this is the new, diet. And that's the problem with diets is they're not longevity. It doesn't work.
I agree. And they work for a little while.
Yeah.
I mean, but they won't work for a lifetime because you haven't learned anything about yourself. You haven't learned about your relationship with food. You haven't learned which types of food works best for your body and for your health. And that's the caveat, because I've done even the big box stuff. I've done them all. And what led me was the day that a couple of things was happening. I was eating fast food every day, and I didn't want to give it up. Now I don't eat fast food anymore, but at that point I was. I wanted to release weight, but I didn't know how to do that. Still feel satisfied with my food and my life, and keep it off. And so I made a decision I was going to stop dieting. I really did.
How
I
many of you out there want to make the decision that you want to stop dieting? Everyone's like, yes, I want to
yeah.
make that decision. So if you make the decision that you want to change your life, lose the weight, but you don't want to diet because that's just a yo-yo thing,
Mhm.
what are the choices?
Well, what I decided was I had to do four things. And first, I didn't want to do a food diet, but I needed to do a mental diet. And
Yeah.
that meant no more criticizing, no more judging myself about anything, whether it was food choices or the way I was dressed or something I felt I did stupid, whatever it was, no more criticism, judgment. So that was number one. Number two is I stopped weighing myself constantly because I was in that habit of weighing myself every day, at least once. And then, of course, the judgment and criticism came, and then the shame and the guilt because either I've gained a couple of pounds or if I've lost a couple of pounds, the reaction was the same. Let's go get donuts, right? So I had to stop weighing myself. And I actually threw away my scale. So I got really bold and courageous. I threw it away because I knew that that wasn't helping me mentally stay on the program.
Yeah.
I started realizing that I needed to change my stories and my belief systems, and how I did that was through self-hypnosis. And I cut my portions. So yes, I was still eating fast food every day, but I would order a kid's meal or a junior cheeseburger and a small fry. And I got the same satisfaction that food was giving me, but in smaller portions. So those are the four things that I started doing. And with the change of my mind, basically my subconscious mind, with this recording that I made that I would eat healthier and feel better about myself and start exercising some, a really bizarre thing happened to me. And I remember like it was yesterday. I walked into Wendy's intending to order my junior cheeseburger and small fry and Diet Coke. And when the cashier asked me what I wanted to eat, I ordered the grilled chicken salad and literally turned around behind me. I thought the person behind me just ordered. That is not, it's not something I would have ordered unless I was on a diet. And I stood there for a minute, really just kind of, while she's ringing it up, evaluating what just happened. And I looked at the picture on the menu board. And I'm like, you know what? That's what my body wants right now. And for the first time ever, I sat down and thoroughly enjoyed my grilled chicken salad with dressing on the side. And I ate it because I wanted it, not because I had to have it because it was on the diet.
Such a big difference when it's by choice of what we want to eat. And I was just doing a live earlier than this, when we do things in our business by choice because we enjoy them. It's such a better experience. And it goes to the same all the way down to the food that we eat. You know, I drink a shake in the morning because I enjoy it. I like having a shake. I prefer drinking my breakfast instead of eating my breakfast. That's what I enjoy doing. So when I get off that and I'm somewhere where I have to eat breakfast, it's a little weird for me, right? It's by choice. It has nothing to do with losing weight or any of that. So you're right. The relationship we have with food is number one, the most important thing. And I actually went back and wrote the comments for what you talked about with the mental diet. So number one, the mental diet, stop criticizing yourself. Did you do that by yourself? Did you have an accountability partner? Did you have little notes written around your house? How did you do that? Because that's a really tough step, just number one, for so many people to get through.
It was a really tough step. And no, I didn't do any of those things. I did it by myself. It would be so much easier if you had an accountability partner or a coach.
Yeah.
For sure. What I realized now with all of the studying that I've been doing about how our brains work and the subconscious mind, what I realized was I was changing neural pathways now. I had no clue what I was doing then, other than to say no anytime a criticism or judgment came up. And you're right, Colleen, it was tedious and it was tiring. And the first day I thought I was going to have to give up because I hadn't realized how much I criticized myself. And if I had had a coach or accountability partner, it would have made it so much easier.
Yeah.
You have a shoulder to lean on and someone's going to say, you got this, girl, keep going. The next day it was a little bit better. The third day was better than that. By the end of the week, I had longer periods between recognizing I was criticizing myself and having to, to say no in between that time. So there was more peace that happened. But it was a really tedious, very much an awareness habit to break. And it really is a habit. It's something you've created over a period of time based on belief systems.
Yes.
And so it was a habit, and it was, come to find out through all my years of studying, a neural pathway that had been set in my brain. I had no idea I was doing that. I was rewiring my brain. But fortunately for me, I was in so much pain, and I knew this is one of the first steps I had to take to get past it. So it was more than just releasing the weight, because I wanted that for sure, but it was also about releasing who
Yeah.
I thought I was.
Yeah. So then the second step was to stop weighing yourself daily, which is
Right.
interesting because I probably get on the scale every single day. I don't know why that is, but I do, and it does weigh on me. It weighs on me a lot. So talk to us about why weighing yourself, what that does to our mental psyche.
Well, and it's really interesting too, because you'll find a lot of nutritionists and other diet gurus tell you to do that. But for me personally, it was, like I said, it was either a condemnation. What is wrong with you? What's the matter with you? How come you can't do this? Why can't you stick to this program? You'll never be able to do this. You're always going to be fat. Just pretend and settle, and it's going to be okay. And so that thought process would go through my mind if I stayed the same or I was up a little bit. If I
Right.
was down, it was like it's time for a celebration. So what can I go eat? So
Yeah, I
that,
agree with that, and I
yeah.
think frustration sits in too,
Mhm.
because what if you do go up a pound, right? And all of a sudden you're like, all this working out I'm doing and all the paying attention to my food is for nothing. So it's a give up moment. But
Right.
if you're weighing yourself once a week or, once every other
Mhm.
week or once a month, or just gauging how you feel by the way your clothes fit,
Right.
that's so much different than watching that number on the scale,
A
you know?
recent, yeah, exactly. A recent client of mine did exactly what you said. She was gauging it by her clothes, how her clothes was fitting.
Yeah.
And she kept going down sizes. And she would
Yeah.
send me a picture of her in her new outfit that she could finally wear that's been in
Yeah.
her closet. Because, trust me, I know, being a woman, that we have three sizes usually in our closet. It's
Mhm.
the one we can wear now, the one that we want to get into, and the one just in case we gain a few pounds that we can still feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So she had gone a couple of sizes down past the one that she was hoping to get into.
That's good.
And yeah, and it was such a freeing experience for her, because the
Love that.
scale wasn't judging her.
Yeah.
The numbers wasn't telling her what she should feel about herself.
So let's go to the number 3. You talked about changing your story and beliefs through hypnosis. So
Mhm.
that's something that I know hypnosis works for so many people. Is that something you did on a regular basis, once or twice? Did you engage someone in this process with you?
What was interesting, I actually learned about hypnosis when I was 16 for yet another weight loss, hoping for a miracle type of thing. And I did lose 30 pounds, and I do use the words lost because I found it back soon after. However, what was very fascinating to me, what was changing, was my confidence level was changing.
Mm.
And I found a tool that I could use to help me get past those things I didn't want to do, not only around food, but this was about the time I was going into college. And standing in front of a room giving an oral report is something I couldn't even consider doing. I would shake and I would stumble with my words. So with self hypnosis, I found I could do that. I could stand in front of the room and I wouldn't shake as much, and I could still speak in some kind of coherent way so that people could understand me. So I'm like, why aren't we being taught how to use the power of our minds and the subconscious mind?
Mm.
So it's been a big part of what I use to work through all of the belief systems, because we have belief systems that we've carried since childhood. I have clients that are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they're like, why do I still feel this way? Unless you work through those,
Yeah,
they will still haunt you. And as much as
absolutely.
you kind of push them away or try to step beside them, they're still there. And so that's what I've found self hypnosis does. Since that time, I've become a certified hypnotherapist. So I work with my clients with hypnosis in a professional way.
Wow, that's amazing. So you add that as part of the accountability and the coaching piece. That's
Right.
huge. That's wonderful. And then the last piece you talked about was smaller portions. Duh.
Mhm.
I mean, that you get a smaller plate, right? Get a smaller
Right.
plate, start using, like you said, it's not about not stopping at fast food. It's about going and maybe getting a smaller portion at the fast food place to start, right? It's not about eliminating all of that, which I find that many people do that. They think they want the change right away. They have to eliminate everything out of their entire diet, live a whole new life. That is not sustainable, y'all. Not sustainable, but smaller portions is. Taking 2 spoonfuls instead of 4 spoonfuls, or 1 spoonful instead of, or if you're used to drinking soda, do half of what you would drink that day than normal. If you drink 4 Cokes, maybe you drink 2 Cokes that day or for a little while. So I love that. Smaller portions.
Well, I've learned too, through, like I said, all the research I've done around how our brains work, that the brain freaks out when we make dramatic changes.
Yeah.
It does. So therefore, that's why it's not sustainable, because your brain is like, this isn't safe. This isn't safe. This isn't safe.
Yeah.
And for me, it wasn't safe to give up fast food at that time. Like I said, I rarely eat it now, maybe while we're traveling, just because it's a quick thing to get, but rarely.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even appeal to me anymore. But at that point, I knew I didn't want to give it up. So what I did is I made a small, achievable step. So my brain said, oh, you can do this. And I still felt satisfied. So
Yeah.
anything you want to change in your business, anything you want to change in your life, in your relationships, make a small change. And I tell my clients, I make their goals so achievable, and they're ridiculously achievable. They're like, and what next? I'm like, no, you do that first, and then we'll talk about next, because
Yeah.
we've been taught that we need to keep pushing, pushing, pushing. When the brain isn't safe, it's going to stop you. So things like, if you want to start, I had a client who came back. She goes, I used to jog every day, 6 days a week for an hour. And I stopped for 3 years because of my career. And then we had a child, and I want to start doing that again, but I can't get myself out of bed. And she goes, this is ridiculous. I used to do this. I don't understand why I can't. And she was so frustrated, and she was so mad at herself. So I said to her, this is your goal. Tomorrow morning, you get up when the alarm goes off, and you put your sneakers on. And she goes, and then what? I'm like, that's it. And she was like, no, I can do that. I know you can. That's why I'm telling you to do that. She goes, and then what? I'm like, all right, so you can go out the front door. Really? She kept going. So what happened? It was so achievable that she did get up the next morning. She did put her sneakers on, and she did go out the door. And she ran for about, I told her no more than 10 minutes. And she ran for 10 minutes. And within a week, she's like, she wanted to do an hour again, 6 days a week. I'm like, no, we're going to go a half hour, 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Pretty soon she could start jogging for an hour, 6 days a week, but she had to make the steps super achievable so the brain didn't freak out.
Perfect.
And there's nothing to stop her. She just kept moving on.
I love that. And I love all of your steps today. They're very simple. 1, 2, 3, and 4. They're all in the comment section for anyone who's paying attention on our YouTube broadcast or on our LinkedIn broadcast. The other thing is, I've put your information up there on YouTube for them to be able to find you at VickieGriffith.com, and also to email you. And they can email you here at Vickie at VickieGriffith.com as well.
Yes.
And reach out to you. Is there anything else that you would like to say before we close down for today, Vickie?
I think what a lot of women who've tried dieting over and over and over again, they get the feeling that it can't work for them, and it can work for you. It's with approaching it differently, so that we can work through the childhood stuff. And I know that sounds like, oh, geez.
No, it is true.
It is true. And I'll make it as safe as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that you can move forward without deprivation and without using willpower.
Yeah. Absolutely. Vickie, you are amazing. Thank you so much for being here. You guys, all of her information is there. I know that Vickie will go on and make some comments as well on LinkedIn and in the Facebook group for each one of you to be able to reach out to her. Don't try to do this alone. This is something where you need to get a coach, like she said, or an accountability partner. Going this alone is you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to do something that you've never had to do before. And having someone guiding you along this, the hypnosis piece to that, the rewiring of your brain and how you think about food, it's so important. Vickie, thank you so much for being here today. I hope all of you reach out to her at VickieGriffith.com. and get connected with her and just talk to her about what your situation is and how she can help you through this as well. Vickie, thank you for being here with us today. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it.
And thanks for taking the leap. You did it.
I did. And you
All
can
right.
too.
All right. Thanks, everybody.